Part 2. 3 months after signing those divorce papers, Odessa finds herself crouched behind a car in the parking lot of Elias's new apartment complex, watching him carry grocery bags up to the second-floor unit he now shares openly with Natalie. She knows this is rock bottom, but she can't seem to stop herself. The divorce was finalized 6 weeks ago. Elias moved out the day after she signed the papers, taking his clothes and his computer and leaving behind 3 years of shared memories like they meant nothing at all. Natalie went with him, of course, finally dropping the pretense that she was just a friend in need. Before we continue, have you subscribed yet? Hit that button for more amazing stories and mark the register by commenting which country you're watching from. Today's shout-out goes to Lindiwe Mohafi. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce it well. Watching from Johannesburg. Thank you for watching and commenting. Now buckle up, because this story, it's about to get real. Odessa kept the rental house, mainly because Elias didn't want the responsibility of a lease. She's been living alone for the first time in her adult life, and the silence is deafening. Every morning she makes coffee for 2 out of habit, then pours half of it down the drain. Every evening she sets the table for 1 and feels like she's playing house by herself. Her friends and family keep telling her she's better off without him. Catherine stops by almost daily with food and moral support, insisting that Odessa will look back on this as the best thing that ever happened to her. Her mother calls from Phoenix every few days to remind her that she's young and beautiful and can find someone better. But Odessa doesn't want someone better. She wants Elias. She wants her marriage back. She wants her life plan back. She wants to wake up next to the man she promised to love forever and not feel like a failure every single day. So she's been doing things that would horrify her if she saw someone else doing them, like driving by his apartment, like checking his social media obsessively, like showing up at the coffee shop near his office hoping to run into him accidentally. Today, she's graduated to full-scale stalking, and she hates herself for it. She watches Elias laugh at something Natalie says as they walk up the stairs together. They look happy, relaxed, like 2 people who aren't carrying the weight of a failed marriage and broken promises. Natalie has cut her hair shorter since moving in with Elias. It looks good on her. Everything looks good on her. She is the kind of effortless beauty that doesn't require much maintenance, unlike Odessa, who's been losing weight from stress and hasn't been sleeping well enough to hide the dark circles under her eyes. Odessa's phone buzzes with a text from Catherine. "Please tell me you're not at his apartment again." She doesn't respond. Catherine has been patient with her self-destructive behavior, but even best friends have limits. Instead, she starts her car and drives home to her empty house, where she'll spend another evening looking through old photos and wondering what she could have done differently. But when she walks through her front door, something feels wrong. Different. She's been so careful about locking up lately, paranoid about living alone for the first time in her adult life, but the deadbolt isn't engaged, even though she's certain she locked it this morning. "Hello?" she calls out, feeling foolish but unable to shake the feeling that someone has been here. No answer. The house is quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and the tick of the clock in the hallway. Odessa walks through each room, checking for signs of disturbance. Nothing seems to be missing or out of place, but there's an energy in the air that feels off, like someone was here recently. In the bathroom, she finds a pregnancy test on the counter. For a moment, she stares at it in confusion. She didn't buy a pregnancy test. She hasn't been with anyone since Elias, and they haven't been intimate in the weeks leading up to their divorce. Then she realizes what she's looking at, and her knees nearly buckle. 2 pink lines, positive. But this isn't her test. Someone else took this test in her bathroom and left it here. Odessa's mind races through the possibilities. Catherine has a key for emergencies, but she's not seeing anyone seriously. Her mother is in Arizona. There's literally no one else who has access to her house. Unless... She runs to the kitchen and checks the junk drawer where she keeps spare keys. The set labeled Elias is missing. He was here, in her house, in her bathroom. But why would he take a pregnancy test? The answer hits her like a physical blow. He wouldn't, but Natalie might. Odessa sinks into a kitchen chair, trying to process what this means. Elias still has keys to her house. He brought his pregnant girlfriend here to take a pregnancy test. They were in her space, using her bathroom, treating her home like it was still partially his. The violation feels enormous, but under the anger is something worse. Hope. Because if Natalie is pregnant, and if Elias isn't ready to be a father, maybe this will change everything. Maybe this will make him realize that he's been making impulsive decisions. Maybe this will bring him back to her. Odessa picks up the pregnancy test with shaking hands. It's definitely positive. 2 very clear pink lines that represent a future she and Elias used to talk about having together someday. She should be furious. She should change her locks and demand that Elias return her keys. She should respect herself enough to be outraged by this invasion of her privacy. Instead, she finds herself reaching for her phone. Elias, it's me. We need to talk. Odessa, I'm busy. What's wrong? I know about the pregnancy test. The silence on the other end of the line stretches so long that she wonders if he's hung up. I don't know what you're talking about. The positive pregnancy test in my bathroom, the one Natalie took with the key you still have to my house. Another long pause. How did you... We thought you were at work. So you admit it. You brought her to my house. Look, we needed somewhere private, and I still had the key. I was going to return it. Is she keeping it? That's none of your business. But his tone tells her everything she needs to know. This pregnancy wasn't planned. Elias isn't ready for it, and Natalie is probably scared and overwhelmed. Maybe this is a sign, Odessa says, hating how desperate she sounds, but unable to stop herself. Maybe we're supposed to have a baby together. What are you talking about? Natalie is pregnant, not you. But what if I was? What if we gotten pregnant before the divorce? Would you have stayed? Odessa, you're scaring me. This conversation doesn't make sense. Just answer the question. If I was pregnant with your baby, would you want to try again? Elias sighs heavily. Hypothetically, I don't know. Maybe. A baby changes things. It's not exactly the declaration of love she was hoping for, but it's something. A crack in the door she thought was permanently closed. I might be. I lied. Pregnant. I'd been feeling sick and my period is late. She can't believe the words are coming out of her mouth, but she can't seem to stop them. Are you serious? I think so. I was going to take tests, but then I found the one in my bathroom and got confused. Jesus, Odessa, when was your last period? She does quick math in her head, trying to make the timeline work. About 6 weeks ago, right before you moved out. Another pause. You can practically hear him thinking through the implications. We need to talk in person. When? Tonight. I'll come over after Natalie goes to bed. The fact that he's willing to sneak around to see her should feel wrong, but instead it feels like progress. Like maybe she's found a way back to him after all. Okay, I'll be here. After she hangs up, Odessa spends the afternoon in a strange manic energy. She cleans the house again, changes the sheets, and even stops by the pharmacy to buy actual pregnancy tests to make her lie more convincing. She knows this is insane. She knows she's digging herself deeper into a hole that will eventually collapse on her. But the possibility of getting Elias back, even under false pretenses, feels worth any amount of future pain. At 11 o'clock that night, she hears his key in the lock. Elias looks tired when he walks into her kitchen. Older somehow, like the weight of 2 pregnant women is aging him in real time. So, he says, sitting down across from her at the table where she signed their divorce papers 3 months ago. So, how sure are you? Pretty sure. I bought tests, but I've been too scared to take them. Do you want to take one now? Odessa nods, her heart pounding. She's committed to this lie now, and the only way out is through. In the bathroom, she stares at herself in the mirror. This is the moment where she either confesses the truth or takes this deception to the next level. She thinks about Elias sitting in her kitchen, worried about her possibly being pregnant. She thinks about him sneaking out of the apartment he shares with Natalie to have this conversation. She thinks about the way he said, "A baby changes things." Odessa opens one of the pregnancy tests and carefully drips water onto it, hoping that will create some kind of result that looks ambiguous. When that doesn't work, she realizes she's going to have to get creative. She goes to her medicine cabinet and finds an old pregnancy test from a friend who took it at her house months ago during a scare that turned out to be nothing. That test had been negative, but Odessa has been saving it for some reason she couldn't articulate at the time. With a pen, she carefully adds a second line to the test window. It doesn't look perfect, but in dim lighting, it might be convincing enough.
"Elias," she calls, "can you come here?" He appears in the bathroom doorway, looking nervous. What does it say? She holds up the doctored test with shaking hands. I think it's positive." Elias takes the test and examines it closely. "This line is really faint. Are you sure? The instructions say any line means positive." He sits down on the edge of the bathtub, running his hands through his hair. This is crazy. 2 pregnant girlfriends in one day. The way he says girlfriends makes Odessa's heart leap. He's including her in that category again, even if it's just because of a fake pregnancy. "What are you going to do?" she asks. "I don't know. Natalie wants to keep hers. She's already talking about baby names and nursery themes. And what do you want?" "Honestly, I'm terrified. I'm 28 years old, my business is barely getting off the ground, and now I'm going to be responsible for 2 kids with 2 different women." Odessa sits down next to him on the tub edge, running her hands through his hair. "It doesn't have to be with 2 different women." "What do you mean?" "I mean, maybe this is the universe telling us we're supposed to be together. Maybe the divorce was a mistake." Elias looks at her with something that might be hope. "You really think that?" "I know I've been difficult. I know I made mistakes in our marriage, but I love you, Elias. I've always loved you. And if we're going to have a baby together, maybe we should try to make it work." "What about Natalie?" "What about her? You said yourself you're not ready to be a father. How can you handle 2 babies when you're not ready for 1? She can see him wavering, considering the possibility that she's offering him an escape from a situation that's spiraling out of his control. "I would need things to be different," he says finally. "Between us. I can't go back to the way it was before." "What would you need to be different?" "More space. More trust. Less questions about where I'm going and who I'm with." Odessa wants to point out that his behavior was legitimately suspicious, but she bites her tongue. This is about getting him back, not about being right. "I can do that. I can be different. And I'd need time to figure things out with Natalie. I can't just disappear on her when she's pregnant." The thought of sharing him makes Odessa's stomach turn, but she nods anyway. "I understand. So what are you suggesting? That we try dating again?" "I'm suggesting that we try to build something real, something based on honesty and communication, something that's good enough for our child." Elias is quiet for a long time, staring at the fake pregnancy test in his hands. "I miss you," he says finally. "I miss our life together sometimes." "You can have it back. We both can." "It won't be the same, though. Too much has happened." "It'll be better, because we'll know how much we have to lose." That night, Elias stays over for the first time since their divorce. They don't sleep together in the romantic sense, but he holds her while she cries tears of relief and terror. She got him back. It took lying about a pregnancy and accepting that she'll have to share him with another woman, but she got him back. As she falls asleep in his arms, Odessa tells herself that everything else can be figured out later. The important thing is that he's here, in her bed, choosing her again. She'll worry about maintaining the pregnancy lie tomorrow. She'll deal with Natalie's reaction tomorrow. She'll figure out how to be the perfect girlfriend who never asks questions or makes demands tomorrow. Tonight, she just wants to pretend that love can really conquer everything, even lies and betrayal and broken promises. But even as sleep takes her, a small voice in the back of her mind whispers that she's making the biggest mistake of her life. A mistake that will only get bigger and more complicated as time goes on. A mistake that will cost her more than she can possibly imagine. But she's too far in now to turn back, too invested in the fantasy of making her marriage work to face the reality of what she's become. Tomorrow, she'll have to start living with the consequences of tonight's choices. And those consequences will change everything. 2 weeks after Elias moves back into her house, Odessa realizes that getting what you want can be worse than losing it. He's treating her like a roommate with benefits rather than the woman carrying his child. He comes and goes without explanation, disappears for hours at a time, and still spends 3 nights a week at Natalie's apartment to support her through the pregnancy. Odessa finds herself living in a constant state of anxiety, pretending to have morning sickness while actually feeling sick from the stress of maintaining her lie. She's downloaded pregnancy apps, bought prenatal vitamins, and even scheduled a fake doctor's appointment that she'll have to cancel at the last minute. The worst part is how happy everyone else is for her. Catherine stopped by yesterday with baby magazines and organic ginger tea for the nausea. Her mother called home Phoenix, crying with joy about becoming a grandmother. Even her coworkers have started asking how she's feeling and offering advice about pregnancy symptoms. Every congratulation feels like another nail in the coffin she's building for herself. "How was your day?" Elias asks, walking into the kitchen, where Odessa is pretending to read a pregnancy book. It's almost 9 o'clock, and he's just getting home from wherever he's been. "Good. Quiet. How was yours?" "Busy. Had meetings all afternoon." She wants to ask what meetings, with whom, and why they lasted until 9 at night. But she's promised to be the cool girlfriend who doesn't ask questions. "I made dinner if you're hungry. It's in the fridge." "Thanks, but I already ate." Of course he did. Probably with Natalie, who's actually pregnant and therefore gets priority access to his time and attention. Elias sits down across from her and notices the pregnancy book. "Learning anything interesting?" "Just reading about what to expect in the first trimester. Did you know the baby is already developing all its major organs?" The lie comes so easily now that it scares me. I've become fluent in pregnancy facts and symptoms, all to maintain a fiction that gets more elaborate every day. "That's amazing," Elias says, but his tone is distracted. "Listen, I need to talk to you about something." Odessa's heart rate spikes. Has he figured out I'm lying? Has Natalie demanded he choose between them? Has he decided this isn't working after all? What is it? "Natalie's having some complications. High blood pressure. Her doctor wants her on bed rest for the next few weeks." "Oh no. Is she okay?" "She'll be okay, but she needs someone around to help her. I'm going to stay at her place until things stabilize." The words hit Odessa like a slap. "For how long?" "I don't know. A few weeks. Maybe longer." "But what about us? What about our baby? You're not due for months, and you're healthy. Natalie needs me right now."
Odessa wants to scream that she needs him too, that she's supposedly carrying his child and deserves some consideration, but she's trapped by her own lies and her promise to be understanding. "I see. You're upset. I'm concerned. About both pregnancies, about how we're going to make this work long term." Elias leans back in his chair, suddenly looking exhausted. "I don't know how we're going to make it work. I never imagined being in this situation. But you want to try, right? With us? I want to do right by both of you. and both babies. It's not exactly the romantic declaration she was hoping for, but it's something. A commitment to try, even if it's born out of obligation rather than love. Maybe I could help, Odessa suggests. With Natalie. I know it's awkward, but we're all in this together now. Elias looks at her like she's suggested something completely insane. You want to help take care of my ex-girlfriend's... I want to help take care of the mother of your child. And I want to show you that I can be mature about this situation. Odessa, I don't think that's a good idea. Why not? I'm a woman. I understand pregnancy. I could be useful. Because it's weird. Because you two don't even know each other. Because she doesn't know about you being pregnant yet. This stops Odessa cold. You haven't told her? I've been trying to find the right time. She's been so stressed about her own pregnancy that I didn't want to add to it. Elias, it's been 2 weeks. Don't you think she has a right to know? Of course she has a right to know. I just need to figure out how to tell her without making her feel like she's being replaced. The irony isn't lost on Odessa. She's literally trying to replace Natalie, and now she's advocating for the woman's right to know about the competition. Maybe I could tell her myself, Odessa suggests. Woman to woman, it might be easier coming from me. Absolutely not. This is my responsibility. When will you tell her? Soon, after she's more stable. Odessa realizes that soon in Elias speak could mean weeks or months. He's a master at avoiding difficult conversations, and telling his pregnant girlfriend that his ex-wife is also pregnant definitely qualifies as difficult. I think we should all sit down together, she says, the 3 of us, and figure out how this is going to work. That sounds like a nightmare. It sounds like the mature thing to do. We're all adults, we're all going to be in each other's lives because of these babies. We might as well start figuring out how to coexist. Elias considers this, and Odessa can see him warming to the idea, probably because it takes the burden of difficult conversations off his shoulders. You really think you could handle that? Meeting with her? I think I have to handle it. This is our reality now. The next evening, Elias arranges for Odessa to come over to Natalie's apartment. Ostensibly, it's so Odessa can offer her services as a helper during the bed rest period. Really, it's so Elias doesn't have to be the one to deliver the news about Odessa's pregnancy.